Hey everyone, Wags here from Eagle Dynamics, and in this Syria map video, we'll be conducting a Hornet strike on an enemy encampment in the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon. For those that remember the 1980s military history, the Bekaa Valley was a flashpoint that saw multiple airstrikes. This included the United States 1983 strike of Syrian forces around the town of Hammana. This video uses that strike as inspiration. Let's get started. Okay, so before we jump into the mission, let's take a look at it in the mission editor first. Now, as you may recall, in the previous video, we were here in Damascus, and we took a nice leisurely flight down to the international airfield down here. For this one, we're going to be moving up to the northwest, to the Beirut area, and to the east of that is the Bekaa Valley sandwiched between these two mountain ranges. So for this flight, I'm going to be part of a section assigned to strike an encampment and a truck park here at Tel Abyad. Here's an encampment and here's a truck park. And I'm going to be dropping some GV-16s on each of those areas. My wingman is going to be armed with both harms and air-to-air to protect me, but also I'm going to have a section of siege flight, suppression of enemy air defenses, as well as a section of Hornets to do a fighter sweep ahead of me. So once we go feet dry and we fly over Lake Karan, we're going to go ahead and make a decision point of whether or not to drive directly to the target and hit it, or whether or not we're going to have to fight through any MiGs or SAMs in the area. Once the target is destroyed, I'll go ahead and duck into the small valley off here to the west, and then I'll come off to the west. We'll overfly the small airfield here at Wajar. We'll come back to the coast, come by the small town of Jonet, and then finally we'll end up here at Beirut and overfly the international airfield. So that's the plan. Let's see how it works out. Okay, so we're in the cockpit now. First thing I'll do is I'll put the barometric hold on, as well as activating the auto throttles. And we can see that we have our two escort sections ahead of us, the seed flight as well as the cap. And here's our wingman in fighting wing position. And up ahead we can see the coast of Lebanon. And there off to the left, that is the Beirut area. Okay, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Set up the lights. Altitude warning. Turn on the helmet. And I'll set the waypoint to waypoint 2 will be my target location. I'll set that waypoint designate and put sequence on. Activate the countermeasures. You get a lot of rod chatter. Let's go ahead and turn that down quite a bit. And next, let's go ahead and set up my LGBs. So we'll go to instantaneous fusing. We'll set the code to 1688 for both of them. And to the next. Okay, coming feet dry along the coastline. And at this point, let's go ahead and set ourselves up for air-to-air. And I'll put the SA up on my left DDI, decenter it, and let's change my radar scale out to 80. Center up my TDC. And looking back around, you can see here along the Lebanese coast a lot of valleys leading from the mountains out to the sea. There's my wingy. And now out in the direction of Beirut. As you can see, a lot of detail in topography to hide in. Okay, we'll crest this ridge and keeping relatively low to do a little bit of terrain masking for the SAM sites in the Bekaa. And you'll notice that in this video I had changed the time of day a little bit later in the evening with the sun near the horizon. Much more dramatic lighting, as you probably noticed. Okay, so over this next ridge line, we start to enter the Bekaa Valley proper off to the left. So I'm going to start gaining some altitude. I want to get up to about 15,000 feet. There we can see the lake and my seed flight ahead of us. Let's go ahead and start turning in. Yeah, starting to get a lot of raw gear activity. Looks like we've got some bigs in front of us. And it looks like at least 2 SA6 sites as well. Okay, we got a target out here. Let's take a look. And it's pretty far away, and we have plenty of time to actually hit that first target. And we got the escort flights ahead of us. So let's switch over to air-to-ground mode now. We'll bring up the FLIR page. And we'll make a TDC. We'll go to the IR, and we'll put the laser on. And let's take a look at some of the terrain off here to the right. And I'll try as much as possible to have the head out of the cockpit so you can take a look at this beautiful terrain. Zoom it in. And there's the encampment. Let's go ahead and designate that area for initial track. And gain some altitude. I want to be dropping anywhere between 14 and 15,000 feet. Okay, let's take a look to the left side. And again, you can see just a lot of detail in the terrain mesh, the objects, the trees. Just a really great job. And let's bring up the SA page on the left DDI. Again, we see 2 groups of MiGs and some SA6s ahead of us. And let's go ahead and refine my FLIR picture a bit and determine exactly where we're going to drop this bomb. Get maximum warhead on 4 heads. Yeah, it looks like we got a SA6 launch up ahead, but pretty far away, non-factor for us. So continue pressing ahead up to about 15,000 feet. Just keep my head on a swivel. Again, a couple GBU-16 1,000-pound class laser-guided bombs. At this point, let's go ahead and refine the aim point just a little bit. And I keep myself in a inertial track. Really no reason to go into an area or a point track for this. Just gives me a lot more flexibility. Okay, aim point looks good. Altitude is good. Release Q coming down. And bombs away. 14 seconds to laser activation. And just doing a lazy turn to the left to keep the pod getting the best look as possible without masking. Okay, laser on, time to impact 7 seconds. And splash. Okay, 1 good hit. Let's come off to the south and we'll re-attack and this time hit the truck park. It'll be flying in the sun here. You can just see how dramatic the shadowing can be on such detailed terrain. And at the same time, I've moved my designation point to that truck park. Taking a look at the valley here. And about my 2 o'clock is Beirut. Go ahead, reactivate the laser. And let's turn back into the second run. And I previously set up the laser code 1698, so we're all good to go there as well. About 30 seconds to release, rolling out on the target. Now we're going to need to zoom in and refine this targeting a bit. Let's try to go center of this line of trucks. And as mentioned before, we'll just keep it in an inertial track. Really no big need to do a area track, much less a point track. Gives us more flexibility. Okay, release cue coming down and release. Laser activation in 14 seconds. Again, we'll do a clearing turn to the left to give the pod a good look to the target area. And laser on. Time to impact 7 seconds. And splash. Okay, so with both bombs gone, let's go ahead and configure back to air-to-air. Bring up the SA page to see what's going on with the battle space. Looks like we got one target on data link. And I'm going to command my wingman to go ahead and help out with that. Okay, it looks like he timed out. Looks like he's already been shot down. So it looks like our sweep elements actually did a really great job in sanitizing the area ahead of us. So that being said, I can go ahead and start my egress now.
Flight, join up.
That's the valley over there we're going to cut into. So let's change the steer point to that. And let's head over there. And we'll bring the altitude down quite a bit as well. And one of the reasons I want to do this video was to show that the map looks really good, you know, around 15,000 feet, but also down to 15 feet as well.
Altitude. Altitude.
Okay, up ahead over this little ridge line is going to be the little valley to the west of the Bekaa Valley. Okay, let's go ahead and roll into it now. It looks like we're already approaching the waypoint, so let's go ahead and get ready to head off to the west to our egress waypoint out to the airfield.
Altitude. Altitude.
Okay, let's go up. Okay, up ahead we can see the Mediterranean Sea. And prior to that, we're going to have a fair amount of canyons and nice rolling hills to fly through. And just like the Caucasus map, one of the nice things about this map is really some interesting and nice terrain elevation in multiple areas around this map, particularly in the main mountain range between Lebanon and Syria. Actually, this is probably one of my favorite canyons in the map right now.
Altitude. Altitude.
Okay, we'll start bringing the altitude down so we can do a low pass over Wuja al-Shajar. Okay, so up ahead on this little peninsula of land is the Wusha Al Jar airfield, and we'll pass just to the right of that. A nice little airfield for helicopters and light aircraft, like a Yak-52 or a Pitts. And there it is. Okay, let's continue dropping down the coast down to Beirut now. Okay, let's climb up and we can take a better look around this area. And one of the things you'll notice, just like I noted at the beginning of this mission, that you have a lot of deep canyons running from the mountains down to the sea, which really makes for some interesting flying, particularly at low level through all these little canyons and valleys. So directly ahead we have the city of Junet,
Altitude.
and I am
Altitude.
sure that I'm mispronouncing that, like I'm probably most of the locations in this video. And now up ahead, we're starting to see Beirut proper. Here are some of the suburbs, a little port here. And let's get pretty low, and we'll do some fun low flying over the city. And like I did for Damascus, later on I'll do a helicopter tour so we can take a look at a lot of these locations in detail. All right, at this point we'll go ahead and line ourselves up for a low pass over the Beirut International Runway here along
Altitude.
the seaside.
Altitude. Pull up, pull up. Pull up, pull up.
So that's a little look at the Bekaa Valley, some of the Lebanese coast in Beirut. I very much hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.